All right, this is Ralph from Asomvel, and you're watching Lo and Behold.
Do you consider yourself a bass player who sings or a singer who plays bass?
Now, I consider myself an idiot who somehow managed to get away with doing both.
Where does the name Asomvel come from?
Now, Asomvel was pulled out of a witchcraft book. It said Asomvel, and it was written down, misspelled, as Asomvel, and it stuck.
What made you start playing bass guitar?
Well, I suppose being raised by a family of complete fuck-up musicians doesn't really hurt, that's probably where I got it from, just that brainwashing. So there you go.
In a band setting, how do you strike a balance between supporting the rhythm section and adding your unique flair to the overall sound?
Okay, I suppose the key is just not to do too much, and also don't do too little. Play it, in isolation with your drummer, and just see how it's sounding. If you've learnt a load of bass lines that you consider to be good, then you'll have them to pull from and create something hopefully equally as good.
Walk us through your bass gear.
Well, first up, let's look at these two. Vintage Marshall JMPs. Those two are good, but they're not as old, and the older it gets, the better it sounds. I mean, you'd think it'd be more fucked up, but maybe that's the point. Maybe that's the good thing. And bass-wise, I've got an Ibanez Destroyer, which I'm quite fond of at the minute, Washburn B20, and of course the old familiar Rickenbacker. So between those three, it's just kind of like a lucky dip of brilliant vintage basses. I can't really choose the best one out of those. They're all great.
What's the biggest challenge you have faced as a band?
Okay, I'd say the biggest challenge we faced as a band is losing my uncle in 2010, because he was the original frontman of this band. And that's when I stepped in to sort of, carry it forward and keep the band going. So if we can overcome that, then, we can overcome anything, I think.
Why should a teenager get excited about rock and roll in 2023?
Well, I think the very fact that we're here and that we're still here despite what we've been through, and in that time we've accrued a vast knowledge of fucking heavy rock songwriting. I feel like if we can go through what we've gone through and still fucking keep going, any teenager that's around now, they'll probably die before this band does. So you've got us for life. That's good. That's good news. You got rock and roll for the rest of your life. We'll keep banging it out.
How do you think Brexit impacted smaller touring bands?
Well, we felt the brunt of that a few years ago when we had to cancel the Ross the Boss tour. We were going to be supporting those guys all around Europe, and the costs had just gone up so much. We came out of COVID and this Brexit thing had taken hold, and the costs just went through the roof. And I mean, even without that factor, you've still got the ball ache factor of all this extra paperwork, the carnets and stuff like that, which end up costing an absolute fortune and taking a hell of a lot of time. And it's like, it's just a lot harder, simple as that.
What is your advice for playing interesting bass lines?
Well, I sort of refer back to what I said before. If you can pull off a load of bass lines from other songs that you really enjoy, and you probably write something equally as good. If you've learned enough stuff that you like and you can play that well, I think it'll naturally shine through in your own bass lines. You go, I can use something similar to that. I can do what they did there. I think that's the way to do it anyway.
If you could collaborate with any musician, living or dead, who would it be?
Well, that would have to be my uncle. And actually on the latest album that we're about to put out in March, we got a little bit of a collaboration on there by stripping his vocals off an old track with the beauty of AI, and doing like a little duet on the end of a track called Stare at Death and Spit. So that's kind of as close as it gets to the real thing. And that was pretty monumental,
What's the main difference between being a bass player in a 3-piece band versus a 4-piece band?
Well, the main difference is I'm standing over in the middle now, so I'm further away from my bass stacks, which is quite disgusting, but I can get over it, because ultimately you've got those moments like a guitar solo that previously I'd be playing like big chunky chords just to fill it out, and foregoing some of the more intricate bass runs and sort of interesting things I could be doing. Well, now we've got a guitar doing those chords, so I can kind of just go where I want to go and do what I originally wanted to do.
What's the most challenging song you had to learn and perform as a bassist?
Well, there was this Meatloaf song that had some intricate bass line where he's bouncing all over the shop. I can't remember if it was All Revved Up with No Place to Go, or it was one of them off Battle of Hell album. And I think stuff like that just makes you a better player when you kind of push through and you think, why the fuck am I learning this? And it's like, oh yeah, because I want to become better, So it's worth doing.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years from now?
At Download Festival, main stage, headline slot. If you want to buy tickets now, just send me a message. I'll take the money and keep one for you. I imagine it'll be cheaper than buying it in 10 years' time with inflation and that. So, yeah, we'll be playing in about 10 years. Get your tickets now. Just DM me for the link. No problem.
Alright, time for some rapid fire. Active or passive?
Passive aggressive? Does that work?
Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Can I just keep the pineapple and bin the pizza? How about that?
Tea or whiskey?
Always a nice cup of tea. I don't drink, so that's an easy answer.
Ampeg or Marshall?
I'll let you work that one out. I'll say nothing.
If you could read the world of one band, which band would it be?
The whole point of music is self-expression, and you should be able to just put out there what you want to put out there. And why do you care if a band exists that you don't like? There's stuff that you don't like everywhere, you know. So I feel like everything has a right to exist if somebody wants to create it, you know. As long as they're not, you know, boiling babies and eating them for dinner, they're fine, you know, let them do it. Well, we did it. We made it to the end. So thanks for watching. Stay true to yourself. And if people try and stop you, go tell them to go fuck themselves. Nice one.